Right, so this is my second wood turning project. The first is this, which was a piece of softwood and it's rubbish, doesn't turn very well, so I'm going to try this little piece of log off of a tree from my garden. I'm going to try and turn it off to round first because it's a little bit off, and then see what I can do. Maybe a little goblet or a lidded box or something. Not too ambitious, but I'm going to give it a try. Right, so that's turned pretty much to round. Looks like quite an interesting piece of wood. There's some varying colours in there. I've got a little bit of a live edge there, which I'll probably lose when I'm shaping whatever I'm going to do, and I'm still deciding. I'm thinking, so I haven't got a chuck yet, so I'm going to have to put a faceplate here to make a goblet, so I'm going to lose this much in screws, so maybe I might end up with a little tumbler or a short stem goblet. It's going to have a pretty, I think I'll try a little goblet to see how we go. Right, so I've decided, after putting this on the faceplates, it was well off the centre, so I've had to turn it down a bit more. It's just rough finish there, but it's now, you can see, it's now much too narrow really, and too short to make a goblet. I could, with the width, and I've got a couple of cracks here, I could make like a champagne flute, but it's too short. So I think what I'm going to try and do is make a paperweight, just something that I can finish and see, to start to practice polishing and that sort of stuff. I might make like a chess piece of some sort. Probably a pawn. I like chess, so that seems to be reasonably easy to do, and I can probably finish this end without the spindle being in there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to time lapse and see how that goes. Okay, so for my very first go on something that isn't a piece of softwood, which was my very first go, so for my second go, I'm quite pleased with how that's come out. I've learned a lesson here. Watch where you're putting your screws on the faceplate, and also up here I'm going to have to fill this little hole where the spindle went. I didn't think of that when I started turning it. It's only when I come to take that top off, this piece would have been too small. If I'd taken that off, because I would have needed to lose, that's probably 1/4 of an inch deep, and that would have then looked silly having just that bit. So I'm quite pleased with the finish. It's just beeswax. I sanded through 80 grit, 280 and then 400 as high as I went, simply because the only other grades I had would have been silly enough for working on car paint, and I didn't think a piece of old wood out in the garden really needed to be sanded to 12,000 grit or anything silly like that. So yeah, I'm going to take it off of there now, and I've got myself a little paperweight. Yeah, happy.